Alright, we're back in the garage. Jazz here yet again. One more day, one more week. Keep on plucking away. Working on today, talked about it a little bit, closing up the last video. Got this piece of floor piece made, sitting in there. It's not welded in yet. And then I started making the next piece, and I set a piece of floor paneling in there. You can see this piece is going to be right in there like that. It will, this edge that I put onto it will weld to the inside of the large side panel here, and over here will weld across the top of that. So these will get stitch weld all the way across the length of the floor. This floor panel right to the front of the vehicle, up to the wheel well, just short of it, the rear outrigger where this jacking point is. It'll join the existing floor that stayed right there, so we'll trim that to fit. I'm going to be drilling 2 holes in every valley all the way across each of these cross members front, so it's going to be 5 of them, 2, 3, 4, 5 total. Single holes at the end, double, 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 and double. That's going to get welded to these cross members all the way up to where it joins with the existing flooring again. I'm going to take a look at that, maybe strip out a bit more of the floor to put as much new metal in there as we can. We might as well use the width if we have it, but we're going to sort that out as we get into this here shortly. For today, I'm going to make a few of these pieces so that I can create this whole piece all the way across. That panel fits very nice, lines up good with the where the inner side panel edge is, so we're going to make a few of those to get across, or 12 inches at a time. Once we get them in place, get everything lined up, I'm going to tack them together so it becomes one piece that can drop in there. And we're also going to notch it out here so that it actually goes in front and joins with the existing piece that's back here on the other side of the C-post. So we're going to kind of play with that, get that set in, make pieces go way across. At the front here, it actually will join right at this inner edge of the inner rocker where the curve is if this was a right-hand drive bus and had a sliding door on the side. And hopefully I get the seat belt off this post today so we can start working on that as well. But we're going to fab a few pieces. I'll get a little stop motion shot of making at least one of them so you can see the pretty basic pieces using a little 3-in-1 12-inch bender roller shear, and we'll get this squared away. Got a big mess to clean up, all the crap everywhere. But let's do it. Alright, so there's a piece that we made up. Got a little bend on the end that's going to go against the inner side of the side panel, and a little kick down here, angling that off, because that will fit right in here against this floor. And these are ribbed down, so that curve fits right into this. Now that's a bit too sharp of a curve on that one. I'll have to take it off a little bit, but I'm going to make enough of these to fit all the way across here. Then I'll be able to tack them together and make a side panel that'll fit in there, and then position it so it'll weld to the floor. But yeah, gonna keep going. Make probably 2 more of those, and should have the pieces we need to do a little bit of trimming, fit them in against the the B and C posts. Here we go. All right, here's the pieces that are gonna go across there. Of course, got to tweak the angled piece that's going to go and join the floor, but that's how it'll join with the corrugated floor panel that you see right in here in black. These will get tacked together, going to notch out so we can get around this C-post, likely going to make another piece that's going to go in here and then come up on the inside, because these 4 pieces fit perfectly right from the very front. I got a notch out for the B post, because the B post will actually go down through this panel. Underneath it, this will weld to the outside of the B panel. So we're going to notch that one, make little tabs to come up. Hard to see with the seatbelt there. Remember that. So we're going to notch this one. We're going to fold tabs up that will weld onto the B post when we finish closing that up. Sorry. Fold the piece up like this. It'll weld right onto here. And that's the mark line of the original floor. That's where we want to get these to be. So it's sitting underneath there right now. This will actually sit more kind of like that. I just got to sort out the angle on those pieces a little bit better. Once this welds down to the floor, it'll all start getting squared away. So we're going to keep playing with that piece, get it in there so it's nice and level. I'll clamp it, tack it together each piece, and get this thing squared away so that it can slide right in there and help me start building that floor out. Gotta keep playing. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna keep on going here with Jazz. Got a few more things kind of squared away, been tinkering around with. Got the floor panel prepared. I put a bit of primer on the back side of it so that it's ready to weld in there. I'm just gonna slide it out of the way here shortly. We've got this little part that I showed you guys the other day. It's welded into place now. It's ready to go. This fender piece will be able to go in there, and then that's ready to weld in. But what I'm going to be doing for today is I'm back up here with the Dogleg. So we have the new part that came in. Nice new Dogleg piece here. This one is from Concept 1. CIP carries these ones too. I did order one of the cheaper panels from them earlier, and it was junk. It's their cheap panel, but it was all spot welded across along this area. There was pieces of panels that were overlapping. It was a mess, all wrinkled, and it was hideous. There was a slice down here where it was overlapping, and just an awful panel, all overlapped and spot welded along this edge, where this one's one piece stamp for the outer piece, and then the inner section of it that is on the back side is welded in there, and it's welded up along in here. So you have a much nicer piece. However, for a 72, and they're really only going to run into this if anybody gets a 72, because it's kind of a mix between the early bay and the late bay. So the early bays don't have this flare on the front fenders. It's just straight down. Late bays have this flare. They also have this larger step, where a 72 still has the early bay step. So I have to cut this piece off. This little step piece has to come out, and I'm going to weld in this one in its place. That will weld in on the back side, but like that. So I'm going to trim that piece off and start getting this to fit in so that I can make sure all my pieces are lined up in here. I got a little bit of trimming off to do behind where this tube goes. I got a hole to close in there still, but I have to cut a little bit of this off to give room for this back edge here, because it sticks out. So that little part sticking out, I need to give that room right in here. So it's going to be a little bit of a slice, bend that piece back in to get it nice and to give me the room to get in there. So I'm going to trim that, prep that, cut this piece off. The other thing that's going to change on this one is I will have to cut this leg somewhere around here and remove about 8 millimeters and weld it back together. And the reason being is the late bays, the Dogleg sits just a little bit lower, so I need to compensate that for the 72 so that my gaps and everything work. So there's going to be a lot of fiddling around to get this one to fit in there, and I'll do a lot of time-lapsing. I'll explain things a little bit as we go through, but let's do it. All right, here we go again, back in the garage with Chaz. Threw the door on, going to play around with the dog leg some more. Just going to lay it out here so you guys can see it. So there's the dog leg top section. And here's the bottom section. Just kind of snipped away. So put tape line across it, get a nice straight cut. And if you can take a look on this one, I have a blade width, and then I took a Perkins marker along the edge, and I'm going to grind that part off. I need about 8 millimeters taken off so that the top piece and the gap under the door and where it goes on the bottom of the door and the gap down here is going to be nice. And I have to take some material out of that one to do that. I still have to take a bit more material away for where this step piece is going to fit in, but we're going to play around with that today. Like I said, the door's in place, so we'll be able to get that fit in there, get enough material taken off of this piece in here for my gaps to be nice and true under the door. Once we have that, I can tack it together, take the door back off, finish closing in the B-post now that we know everything is where it needs to be, and then the dog leg can get welded in, rear fender can get put on, side panel can get put on, turn the bus around, and start welding the floor pieces back in. That'll be a few days work, but let's do it. All right, took out about the 8 millimeters there, ground out 2 different times to get that thickness. It could use just a little bit more. The gap at the bottom of the door is just a little tiny bit large, although it's just only a little bit more, and I still have a bit of gap here that I could tighten that back up. So I'm going to play with that some more and see if I can get that tucked in there. The gap up here is quite nice, but nothing's changed there, so there's no shock that it's in nice shape there. As I bring that bottom piece up, it comes back a little bit as well, so there's only so much you can go before you start pulling it away from fitting all the way inside this recess. So you got to be really careful taking these down so that it'll fit properly, and it only happens for a 72. Because the size of the door, everything is more like the 71, but it's got the different flares. There are places you can get the proper dog leg for a 72. I believe Heritage Auto Parts has them, but they are crazy expensive. And you can modify these ones so they fit nicely and save yourself several $100 on each side. So I'm going to play around with that just a little bit more. Once it's super close right now, I probably don't have to grind anything more off. Just kind of play around till it fits good. So what I'm going to do next is remove the door again and get the B-post closed up now that I have everything where I need it to be for that to fit in there nice and tight. Going to play with that, get that closed up, get the back side of it closed up. A few patches to do in there, grind those welds nice and clean, and we should be in good shape. Start hanging panels in the very near future. My goal is to have this thing turned around this week so that we can put the floor pieces in after that and keep going. Probably spend a few days just out here welding all these seams up too. So lots to do. Here we go. All right, so working on the B-post. Get some light in here a little bit better. Like that, should be good. There we go. So we got the B-post partially closed up. I'm gonna do a patch back here. I just gotta clean off this edge that the seat pedestal welds to. It was just rusted through there along the bottom. So we're gonna clean that up, weld a new piece in here. Got some pieces in here, kind of the inside edge of the B-post, and it flanges over this way, and we use the spot welder all the way down to join it to the closeout panel that we put into the front of that. It was the green panel and the one that I had made a while back. So that's all welded down up to where the seatbelt post is for now. I still have to make another piece that's going to clean off down here, and it's going to go down into this area, and we're going to have to make it clean this off and come around here. I need to get below this point, so I'm going to come down here somewhere, and that will close up the B-post, and I want it to come around and weld to the inside edge of this closeout panel. Once that's completed, then the B-post will be nice and solid. This will be closed in. There'll be a bit of hammer and dolly work to do along this edge just to get things cleaned up, clean up the welds, and then that place will be good to go. The B-post will be completed and solid. It's already pretty solid, but I'm gonna get one more piece in there and then just do some cleaning up. Get a piece up here, close that up, and of course this is gonna come into here. There'll be one more piece that probably work this piece so that it covers all of that all in one shot. Maybe even clean this off a little bit lower just to make it one nice, simple, clean piece. But we're gonna play with that another night. I've had enough for today, and we'll carry on. Cheers. All right, did a little bit of work again here today. Get this B-post all closed up. Threw some wet through primer on it. Took the hammer and dolly to any of the edges just to get things smoothed out. I'm going to clean up some of the welds. Around. Sorry, use the other hand. Around, this is the bolt hole for the seatbelt mount. It is spot welded all the way along this whole section, right up to the seat pedestal. A new patch in here for behind the seat pedestal and welded across. So the seat pedestal is mounted to that again. There was a couple holes drilled in there for some reason, but we got those removed and put a new piece in. A little bit thicker steel, but that's going to be okay. And once I close this all in and get the floor put in, the insulation will go back into these areas. This is going to get all painted inside the inner rocker, and the floor will weld right up to the inside of that inner panel, and this floor panel go in. So about here is going to be all new floor in the very near future, probably well, maybe even this weekend or early next week at the latest. And that's where we're at. So the B-post, I think it looks really good. It has more material in it than the original design. I brought the inner tube down farther and welded it to the front piece, where originally it only goes as far as the floor. So there's a few extra inches of material there, and it is 3 layers of metal going into that piece now, where originally there was just the 2. So I added another one to the front and a second one to the front along with all these, and spot welded it all in. So it is super solid. We are going to spray the inner cavity with the dripless oil later on. I'll probably punch a small hole in the tube, maybe up here or even on this inside edge, so I can slide a tube up, spray oil all inside that B-post and fill this bottom. But I can't do any of that until after we've got all the welding done, and probably going to have the body work done, maybe even paint, and then we'll spray it to treat it. So this is just going to dry. I'll give it a couple more coats, probably just give it a quick coat of paint. This gets covered again by the wooden panel here and insulation, and here is a rear facing seat. But I want it nice, as clean as possible. We're also going to put some seam sealer on some of the welds. I might knock the tops of the welds down just a little bit, but it doesn't need to be smoothed right out because none of this area is visible. Just need it solid. So that's the B-post as she sits today. This is all repaired and all new panels in there, and that B-post perfectly solid. It's cleaned up on the other side as well. I'm going to go around and start fiddling around with the Dogleg. Here we go. Alright, here we go again. Start fiddling around with the Dogleg. Clamped in the top piece, have a screw to hold it nice and tight up in place, clamp down the bottom, clamp the back corner, and then fit this piece in. Got this inner tab secured now, where this is just going to fold around it. Later on, this is going to weld onto here, and this will get knocked down a little bit and welded in here. This black panel up here will actually slide in the back. Let's see if I can put it in there for you with one hand. Kind of fit in there like that. It'll be tucked in nice and tight right up to the bottom of the floor, and along the edge here will be sucked in nice and tight as well. All pieces are lining up pretty good. They'll all fit together, so I'm going to have to just fiddle around until I get all these surfaces nice and mated with each other. Throw a couple of tacks on it, take it back out of there, and weld it up. Knock the welds off in the area where it's going to be touching in contact, and check it for fit again. We'll keep playing around with it until we get it all buttoned up. Before I do the tacks, I'm going to get somebody to give me a hand and then put this door back on and just make sure that everything's where I want it to be. I just want to make sure, and we'll just keep trucking. Here we go. can see where we're at today. Started tacked in place here. I got it tacked in place down in there, and started doing spot welds all the way along and up to about here. And keep working, get this area done down here, and then keep massaging things to get it squared away. On a 72, using a light bay Dogleg, there are some modifications you have to make. Of course, I have to cut out and put that step in. I also had to remove some material in here, so I had to cut it and remove about 8 millimeters of material, but that only applies on a 72. The 68 to 71, you can get the Dogleg that it doesn't have this flare on it, and it'll fit perfect. Spend the money on a good one and it'll plop right in there and be good. Rebuilding the B post is of course a very important piece, because the inner B post and this outer piece are critical for the structure of the Dogleg to bolt or weld to, and this connects down through the inner rocker to your front outrigger with the top hat that goes all the way across, and that's all part of the main structure of the bus. One up front here, another jacking point and outrigger here, and then the last one is here. That is no outrigger on it, it's just, or sorry, no jacking point, it's just an outrigger. So there's the 3 on this side, 3 on the other side. Yeah, that should be it. Just thought I'd show you guys, give you an update. I'm going to keep on welding that in place and check for fitment of the door. Here we go. All right, so one more day. Dogleg got put in last night, finished that off. This morning, moved back here, got everything trimmed up, put the rear wheel arch panel in. I've still got to weld it across the top of the wheel arch itself. I haven't done that yet. Moved on to get the side panel in. It's all nice and tight. Welded it on the inside edges. I didn't capture any video on it. Probably see sparks and stuff on the video. It was still time lapsing. But welded the spots along the inside edge to the B post and to the C post, and then we did the welds all the way along the bottom to secure it to the inner rocker. That is the end of the driver's side and the nose. So we're about halfway through going around the whole bus, of course. The other side, I've got the rear arch to do some work on. I know I have to do some work on the inner rocker. The other side isn't quite as rusty as this side, or at least that's what I think so far. We'll know better as we start opening things up to replace it. But I'm gonna probably just tinker around and get the rest of the welding done. Right now it's just hacked in place, the nose and the two sides. Might just sit out here at my stool and work away. Keep on going until I run out of gas for my welder anyway. So I've got about a half bottle. Still okay. And just gonna keep going. But that'll be it for the video on Chaz for this week. Finally got this side closed up. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Really appreciate it. All of you that do watch, subscribe, share the videos for me. Get it spread out there if you can help. I would appreciate it. Throw a comment. That really helps with the algorithm of the YouTube videos. It helps me get the channel up there and gets it noticed a bit more. And the more I can generate conversations and things like that does help. So if you can smash the like button for me, throw some comments on there, I really appreciate it. And share the video for me. I really do appreciate it. It helps a lot. At any rate, thanks very much, everybody. We'll keep on going with Chaz. Finish some welding, turn it around, and we'll get started on the other side. Cheers.